Anuanom ne adɔfoɔ wɔ Christ Jesus mu, mesan de nhyira fie Brabagye Kofo the Church of Christ de brɛ mu. Na yɛasan aba the hour of prayerism so anaasɛ the hour of prayerism. So na yɛhwɛ anaasɛ yɛgu so a yɛhwɛ book the dating of the book of Revelation. Yɛahwɛ bebree. In fact, there were three series. There were three videos to this to this topic under consideration. To what say be a share 1, 2, 3 no or call YouTube channel no now or type the hour of prayerism and as the hour of prayerism I'll be some videos ni bi hinai den ahwɛ te saa na ɛte we no yɛ nkyɛn ho yɛ nsɛmbre because series nti yakasa bebree now yɛ last understand yɛ third video no na yɛhwɛ bibi ɛwɔ the book of Revelation no the book of Revelation yɛhwɛ chapter anaasɛ yɛhwɛ bibi ɛwɔ chapter 17 and chapter 18 no a na yɛsɛ yɛwɔ great city bi of course great city no yɛhu sɛ yɛ old covenant Jerusalem according to Revelation chapter 11 verse 8 no ɛma yɛhu sɛ indeed na yɛ saa Jerusalem no old covenant Jerusalem no ɛno ara so na Bible nso sa no yɛfrɛ no mystery Babylon no nti mystery Babylon na yɛhwɛ no adeɛ ɔyɛ den ɔyɛ na yɛtumi abɔ ho yɛtumi adi yɛ identify saa entity na yɛfrɛ no mystery Babylon no nti mystery no yɛ solve yɛ through the characteristics anaasɛ the character of that mystery Babylon nti yi mystery tumi yɛ wɔn veili mystery no na yɛkɔ so no anaasɛ egu so a yɛkasa no na yɛ time no yɛ den ɛso yɛ nti yɛtoa so nti yɛsɛdeɛ yɛkae no yɛhwɛ Revelation chapter 5 verse 6 na ma no ma yɛhu sɛ yɛse saa mystery Babylon no she is drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus Christ according to Revelation chapter 18 verse 5 to 6 ɔkunkum Nyankopɔn nkɔɔfoɔ no ka sɛn nkɔmhyɛfoɔ ka ho saints no ahoterefoɔ no ɛyɛ dɛn ɔtaa wɔn ekunkum ebinom nti in fact yɛnim sɛ adeɛ bi a ɛbɛyɛ dɛn na ɛbɛba because wokɔ back to Revelation chapter 2 verse 10 they were aware say indeed they are going to suffer the seven churches in Asia they know na wɔn nim sɛ wɔn bɛyɛ dɛn wɔn bɛ saa nneɛma yi na wɔn bɛkɔ mu nti yɛtwerɛ wɔn sɛdeɛ ɛbɛyɛ bɛhyɛ wɔn ho den because things were going to get worse even ɔno John no koraa mpo ɔtwerɛ saa krataa no koraa mpo sɛ na saa ahohiahia no ɔyɛ dɛn ɔwɔ mu bi wɔkan Revelation chapter 1 verse 9 a ɔsɛ I John your companion in the tribulation nti na ɔno nso ɛwɔ saa tribulation no mu Paul 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 9 ɔno nso sɛ ɔwɔ tribulation no mu Act chapter 22 Act chapter 14 verse 22 even Jesus ɔno akwa mpo ɛwɔ Luke chapter 26 verse Luke chapter 24 verse 26 ɔno nso na ɔsɛ ɔwɔ mu bi 1 Thessalonians chapter 3 verse 3 to 4 ɔmo wɔ mu bi 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 chapter 2 verse 16 ɔmo wɔ mu bi 1 Thessalonians chapter 1 just say ne nyinaa no it talks about that tribulation no and that impending judgment no which was going to be carried out under God's ordination okay using the Roman army as his instrument of judgment sana Yankopɔn ɔyɛ n'adeɛ anasa sana Christ said n'adeɛ mo mɛfa nkyɛn akyiri mu sɛ ɔkan Matthew John chapter 5 and verse 19 ɛkɔ no a asɛm a Jesus kae ne sɛ ne judgment no anaasɛ n'atemmuo no bɛbi no ɔbɛyɛ sɛdeɛ agya no ayɛ dɛn Nyankopɔn ebu atɛn ɛwɔ teteberɛ no na ɛkwan bɛn so ɛna teteberɛ no na Christ ɔfa Nyankopɔn fa so de bu atɛn na ɔno ankasa ofi soro ba ma yɛhu sɛ ɔno na ogyina hɔ yi anaasɛ ɔfa kwan bi so na ɔde yɛ dɛn ɔde bu atɛn sɛ wohwɛ judgment against Edom a ɛwɔ Isaiah chapter 34 verse 1 to 5 now ɛna judgment against Egypt ɛwɔ Isaiah chapter 13 verse 9 verse 10 and verse 13 ɛna Isaiah chapter 19 verse 1 and ne nyinaa no where you see instrument bi ɛna ɔde yɛ judgment na ne nyinaa no ɔno Nyankopɔn nankasa yɛ dɛn ɛnsane fam ɛma yɛhu sɛ ɔno ne dɛn ɔno ne ɔno ne bi wɔ so ɔsɛ obi a yɛ dɛn obi a is invisible God obi a ne wɔbɛtumi ahu no ɛkwan a yɛfa so edi hu Nyankopɔn no is through what nature according to Romans chapter 1 verse 20 no saa na adeɛ no ɛte nti mmerɛ ɔkaa sɛ ɔbɛba ɔmo ebisa question concerning the coming no deɛ ɔkaa ne sɛ kyerɛ hɛn nsɛnkyerɛnneɛ a ɔde wo ba no bɛyɛ dɛn ɛde bɛ the signs of your coming ɛwɔ Matthew chapter 24 verse 1 to 3 saa na adeɛ no ɛte ɛwɔ ha ɛti sɛdeɛ yɛka no yɛ compare text no na yɛbɛhu deɛ nneɛma ɛte ɛwɔ hɔ. Nti wohwɛ Revelation chapter 18 verse 20 now the kind of say God will avenge the blood of his saints and disciples shed by this Jerusalem. Now this agrees with the word of Christ in Matthew chapter 20 26 sorry 23 verse 36 no yɛhwɛ asɛm bi a no so ɔka no wɔ hɔ ɛwɔ Matthew ma no yɛhwɛ asɛm bi a Matthew so Christ so yɛ dɛn ɛka no wɔ hɔ nti yɛbɛhu sɛ indeed the Bible doesn't contradict. Now verse Matthew chapter 30 23 verse 34 to 30 so say therefore indeed I send you prophets, wise men, scribes, some of them you will kill. Now so kind mystery Babylon adwuma ɔyɛ no no ɛwɔ Revelation chapter 18 verse uh, verse 5 to 6 no so adwuma no na ɔyɛ no ɔsɛ I send you prophet, wise men and scribes, some of them you will kill and crucify, some of them you will scourge in your synagogue and persecute from city to city. Now they will persecute some from city to city. So okay, Matthew chapter 10 no verse 23 now Jesus said asɛm bi ɛwɔ hɔ concerning the persecution from one city to another. Ɔka asɛm bi ɛde kyerɛ asomafoɔ no na momma yɛntie anaasɛ yɛntie deɛ ɔkaeɛ ɛwɔ Matthew chapter 10 verse 23 no ɔse now when they persecute you, so when these first century authorities persecute you, you the apostles and the church persecute you in this city, flee to another, for assuredly, now Jesus is assuring them, for assuredly I say to you, you will not have gone through the cities of Israel before the Son of Man comes. Ladies and gentlemen, and he said, Yaka say, before the Son of Man comes, that's a young catcher said the Son of Man has not come. Let me see why they no. Mark Act chapter 5 verse 29. The Peter Kai say betie Yankopon yɛntie nipa deɛ nipa ɔka nti saa na adeɛ no yɛ dɛn ɛte nti sɛdeɛ ɔkae no ɔsɛ some of them you persecute from city to city, that on you come all the righteous blood shed on the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zachariah son of Belachai, whom you murdered between the temple and the altar. Assuredly I say to you, all these things will come upon this generation. You understand? So that mystery Babylon, it was nothing. Say, and then you be say Jerusalem or then Wuku in verse 37 no, of Matthew chapter 23. I say, oh Jerusalem, the one who killed the prophet and stoned those who are sent to her. How often I wanted to gather your children together as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you were not willing. See, your house is left desolate. No, the house there, it was the Jerusalem temple. You see, it was left without any protection because the iniquities of the apostate unbelieving Israel was beyond what repair and was beyond defense. So it was left to destroy. Now, then that destruction occurred in AD 70 when Roman army attacked Jerusalem, even though it was the Jews who caused that revolt in AD 66 to AD 70. All right. Now, say Yeshua said the Yakanya and to share Revelation chapter 18, verse 5 to 6 now, the same language in Matthew chapter 23, verse 34 up to 37 no and I said 39 no okay now you so say saa we no Jerusalem now in the book of Revelation no apocalyptic what language you say osman so signify and say if signify bibia na just ade ni meaning na yeden wo ho and say na ye twerɛ saa writings na yeden it is a mystery Babylon no it was nothing and then Roman Empire bebre no say Roman Empire o meka no bebre and I say Rome patro Rome, but it was that city which killed the prophet, that city which drinks, the blood of the martyrs. Now, our description is Jerusalem, old covenant, unbelieving Jerusalem, and as a Jews, who persecuted the church right down there in the first century. Now, see, based on this, they kind of say, Jesus had told the Jewish to fill up the cup. Said the mere kind or make kind of previous video no. Matthew chapter verse 32, Matthew chapter 23, verse 32. No, as someone can say, they see omo ya then omo fill it omo cup no. I'll say fill up then the measure of your father's sin. So omo fill it omo cup no, the cup, so cup of sin no, they should what omo and fill it the same long so this is the same cup of the same cow, cup we are in Paul so kind of First Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 14 to 16. No, the same cup Paul say, just said the Jew for no more than or more preventive or more apostles says on Baba Gentiles and no, and by so doing they are filling the measure of their sin. So now or more so more building cup no or more boni gumoa to suck up na bed man. Revelation chapter 18 no proleptically Revelation chapter 18, verse 5 to 6, you say, some mystery Babylon, and the bonny eyes saying, Edu Soro, I mean, Uncle Point, then I kind of bonny, and think of four almost seeking justice, and indeed, double on the bonny mano, to say, Omudi bonny pa, indeed. Jesus Christ, I say, sir, tribulation, a busy we are sida, Nibisu and then NC Edda, Matthew chapter 24, verse 21, that we know a quote from Isaiah, Daniel chapter 21, Daniel chapter 12, verse 1, and as Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 6 to 7. And our more apostles also no more than more experience no first century no say being yet a BNC that it's our cup of sun. I will Matthew chapter 23, verse 32. Now the same cup no. I will First Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 14, the special to 16. So the same cup and the cup of filth and abominations spoken of by John in might Revelation chapter 18, verse 4. The same cup. Oh, the cup of filth and what abomination. Time of commercial abomination of desolation also a better idea because my Jesus Kai or Matthew chapter 24, verse uh, 15 no says someone who say abomination a Daniel ka ho asɛm no ogyina kronkron mu biawa a mohu sɛ ne bɔyɛ ayɛ dɛn aba. So who was the abomination that causes desolation? Also Jesus hwɛ Matthew chapter 24, Matthew chapter 23, verse 38. No, also hwɛ your house is left what desolate. Okay, so mo fie na atɔ pan, mo fie na ayɛ dɛn abɔ yi. Nti yɛwɔ cup bi a it was full of what filth and abomination spoken. Nti wokan Revelation chapter 18, no, verse 4 now. One also asɛm bi wɔ concerning this cup here. Said old covenant Israel way almost failing in terms of what persecuting the church, or say uh um yeah, I'll say and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sons, and lest you receive of her plague." So we are talking about the nearness and the fullness of what of cap, okay, of in terms of sin committed by the mystery Babylon or the great city, and the sanity which was filled with the blood of the martyrs. The now blood of martyrs, and there was a cap no mu no. Na ya yankopon den emo ɛbere kakra nti nso ɔka kyerɛ ɔbaa no sɛ wama no chance sɛ ana mmerɛ sɛ Revelation chapter 17 no saa ɔbaa no sɛ wama no kwan sɛ ɔnyɛ dɛn anaasɛ wama no mmerɛ sɛ ɔnsesa n'adwen na sɛ wanyɛ saa ɔbɛyɛ dɛn ɔbɛbɔ no yareɛ ɛwɔ Matthew chapter Revelation chapter 17 no yɛnkan verse 3 ɛba no ɔse so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, which was full of names of blasphemy. Now, scarlet, a color of what? Jerusalem temple, no? That was the color, no? Oh, no, we using according to, I think, is it Exodus 34, Leviticus 34, no? Emasa, descriptive way, no? And I said, which was full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and the 10 horns. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet. So purple and scarlet, I think a Revelation, and I said, sorry, Exodus 34, no, Jerusalem for more traditional colors, especially temple. We know, we say indeed, sa woman, no, saa woman na yɛka no na ɛyɛ old covenant word Jerusalem ɛna ɛnyɛ Roman empire no anaasɛ ɛnyɛ Rome. Now the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet and adorned um excuse me and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, having in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and filthiness, abomination of filthiness of her fornication. Okay, and on her forehead a name was written. You see, so we are talking about that cup which was full of what? Uh, which was full of abomination, okay, and filthiness. And they say, Neoma so no say mystery Babylon, the great mother of harlots and of the abomination of the earth. Okay, so now I say, then I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I marveled with great amazement. So the same language in our cancer Revelation chapter 18, no. Revelation chapter 18, verse 5 to 6, you know. Verse 5 to 6, the same language in our hands. So that mystery Babylon, no, that great city, no, is old covenant apostate Jerusalem. Our persecuted church, you know, in the first century, you know. Now more areas, Rebecca, Jesus said, can be now. And say because of say, yes, I can say, we now, you can't say, uh, uh, John Kaya, no, ɛmɛyɛ ne saa comparison no yɛyɛ no ɛmɛyɛ hu sɛ saa message no nyinaa no ɛyɛ message by it was shortly to take place. Yeah, sometimes time statement of the book of Revelation, we don't have to neglect it when interpreting the book of Revelation. What kind of chapter 1 verse 1 to 3 now? What's this book ni prophecy ni it is shortly to what to take place. That message was what shortly to take place, and it could not go beyond 2,000 years and still counting. Then and by it was shortly to what to take place. So we conclude that John wrote the say the Rebecca said John already addressed our book of Revelation before Jerusalem was destroyed in AD in AD 70 by the Romans army. It is an idea then and that was the time of Christ here then by no by avenging cancer martyred souls and it's uncle for no mudi abubu Revelation chapter 9 Revelation chapter 6 verse 9 to 12 at the opening of the fifth seal so okay they be Matthew chapter 24 Olivet discourse in ya in himself Matthew chapter 24 now and that's Luke chapter 21 and that's Mark chapter 13 and also Eka Sembi and Matthew chapter 24 now and also Kasem which verse 39 now Kasem 29 now Kasem be also now immediately after the tribulation of those days. See, the immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven will be what will be shaken. You see, this is apocalyptic Jewish judgment language. This astronomical disturbances here, we are kusum, bosumbeye, moja, and stars, ebe to no, and yet literal, literal thing, but it indicates, the fall of a nation. Young cancer, the fall of a nation. There were power, I say the powers of heaven will be what will be shaking. So these are the powers of the first century. We are talking about the kings. We are talking about the Sanhedrins, the Edomites, what have you, the high priests, the Pharisees. These were the powers of the first century, and they will be shaking because they are going to be what they are going to be destroyed. So as someone in a high priest, or ten war, Matthew chapter, is it Matthew chapter 26, right? Matthew chapter 26, verse uh, Matthew chapter 26, verse I believe 50 62 ɛkɔ no mmerɛ yɛkyi Jesus yɛde no kɔɔ saa high priest n'anim na ɔmo accusing of insurrection, say at least he's going to destroy anaasɛ ɔbɛ rebel against a high priest no anaasɛ ɔhen no ne n'ahendie no. Asɛm a ɔkae no sɛ nti ha ɔsɛ and the high priest arose and said to him, do you answer? Nti obisa no question bebree. Jesus sɛ ɛdɛn ɛnyi n'ano. Do you swear nothing? What is this men testifying against you? But Jesus kept silent. And the high priest answered and said to him, I put you under an oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Christ and the Son of God. Then Jesus said to him, Jesus was saying, answer, it is as you said. Now, nevertheless, I say to you, hereafter you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power and coming out on the cloud of heaven. Then the high priest tore his clothes. Now, you see, Jew for no, Omunim say, they understand what Jesus was saying. Omunim said this is how God has what come in judgment in the past. And the high priest or catcher and say, Onim say, the Jesus can say, indeed, or a son of God, yeah, or Banocha say, he's going to come against them in judgment. Nso ɔsɔre ɔyɛ dɛn ɔte n'atadeɛ no ɛwɔ Matthew chapter 26 verse 64 ɛkɔ no saa na adeɛ no yɛ dɛn ɛte saa kasa na ɔkaeɛ no sɛ coming of the coming of Christ and as the coming of power bia no on clouds no ɔmo nim sɛ ɛyɛ judgment against what a nation. Nti the high priest nim onim sɛ he was going to come in judgment against them. Ọba ebebu ọmọ atan nti ọsọrọ ya na ọyẹ dẹm ọte n'atẹdẹm and onim how devastating it is when God comes against a nation. Nti n'akomatu yɛ ɛma no yɛ dɛn ɛtete n'atẹdẹm. Nti sɛ dɛm na meka no Matthew chapter 29 no concerning the tribulation no asɛm a ɔkae sɛ tribulation no ɛkɔ anasɛ ebewie saa ɛda na ewia bɛkɔ sum na bosome so ɛbɛkɔ ɛmma ne kanea na stars ɛbɛyɛ dɛn ɛbɛtete ato na powers of the way nso ɛbɛhyɛ ka ɔsɛ then the sign of Son of Man will appear in heaven, then all the tribes of earth. Now the tribe of earth no it's not tribe of this earth but the earth here no it was the land of Palestine right in the first century. I'll say and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, and he will send. So they understand this. You see, the coming of Son of Man in clouds and another with clouds, I say or by against a nation is going to be what is going to be destroyed, and that destruction would vindicate the saint who sought from him a justice and judgment against the perpetrators or you see of the church in the first century. Now, and he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds from one end of heaven to another. So that gathering, a resurrection. That gathering, a resurrection. The same text, John chapter 12, verse 31, and 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1. That gathering, I said Jesus or kind of Matthew chapter 23, say how 23 verse 37 say or we should go to Magada Jerusalem Jahano or say that he is coming will care, but the condition is it will come immediately after the tribulation of those days. That tribulation was meted out to the church by the unbelieving Jews in the first century, apocalyptically called that great city, and that's a mystery Babylon. Sana, I think. It's in said the Yakano say Sana and the book of Revelation, yɛntumi beyond AD 70. Prophecy, ɛntumi fulfill. Asɛm ntumi nsi ansa yɛakɔ akɔhyɛ ho nkɔm. Yɛhyɛ adeɛ no ho nkɔm ma no ayɛ dɛn ama no aba mu ama yɛhu sɛ indeed wɔafi Nyankopɔn ɛhɔ. Na adeɛ no ntumi nsi ansa na yɛaka sɛ yɛkɔ akɔhyɛ ho nkɔm. It doesn't work that way. Nti saa na ɛte. Nti ne hia nyinaa no ma yɛhu sɛ the book of Revelation no yɛantwerɛ no beyond AD 70. Na yɛbɛkɔ so ahwehwɛ mu apɛnsɛmpɛnsɛm Bible no mu ama Bible no ayɛ dɛn akasa na yɛbɛhu sɛ indeed there's truth in the Bible and this is the truth we have to wear in order not to contradict the scriptures. And now say yɛbɛka sɛ yɛdeɛ ebinom a wɔka no sɛ Bible no contradict no ho no yɛnso yɛncontradict yɛn ho. Nti yɛbɛkɔ so ayɛ videos no bebree na yɛbɛte ne nyinaa ase. Subscribe hour of preterism anaasɛ hour of prayerism a wobɛhu yɛn wɔ hɔ na videos a ɛwɔ nyinaa so